Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final Topic Time edition of winter with Harrison Young in 2021. Spring is but 3 days away, and I am loving it. The weather's kind of nice out. A little precip going on, but that's okay. We have an awesome show in here tonight to heat things up. Beautiful guest. Before we get to her, I've got to read these great underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. So, we got Royal Pizza in Rainham, we got Joe's Diner in Taunton, we got Lynch's Towing Auto Cycle and Truck Center in Brockton, one number for towing, one number for projects. We got P&L Paintball in Bridgewater. We got Big Lee's Automotive in Abington. We got Brighton Tire Service in Brockton. We got Comfort Upholstery in East Bridgewater. We got Middleborough Barbering and Company in Middleborough. We got Schnell Performance Auto and Truck in Bridgewater. We got John's Greenhouses and Florist Shop in Brockton. We got Chapin Sheds in Whitman. Good to have them back for the season. We got the Gun Runner LLC in Middleborough, dedicated to your Second Amendment rights. We got Grant's Rental in Bridgewater. We got D&E Auto Body Collision Center in Bridgewater, 35 years in business. We got UBG Airsoft and Laser Tag in Bridgewater. We got Easton Fitness right here in the Village Shops in Northeastern. We got MDI Auto Brokers and Repair in Whitman, home with the fully certified used car. And we got Doggy Boutique, all breed professional grooming for dogs and cats, in Brockton, run by my great next door neighbor, Debbie Siddall. I want to thank you guys very much. And on that note, I will introduce this lovely young lady. This is Christine Szuszkiewcz. Is that how you say?
Szuszkiewcz.
Szuszkiewcz, okay. I was beating myself up about how to pronounce it as I read it before.
I'm used to butchery, so,
Okay,
you were in the ballpark.
It's
I'm
good
happy
butchery
with
as long
that.
as it's vegan butchery. Right, there you go. It's funny, but it's true.
Tofurkey all the way.
Right. Okay, well, Christine was kind of a last-minute fill-in today, but I always say everything happens for a reason. She's a very colorful person, as you can tell already. So I guess we could say that you're a political comedian, activist kind of person. I actually saw a picture of you with the youngest Kennedy, the politician. Mm-hmm. His name's Patrick, right?
Joe.
Joe, okay, I'm sorry, I get him mixed up.
It's
the
all
redhead,
right.
the kid. He's not a kid. I mean, he's a young man, but he's a lot younger than I am. He's the only Kennedy in politics that I know that is. And we're going to cover all that. And just so you guys know, I usually try to keep the show as apolitical as possible because, people have opinions and they're strong, and it's the kind of world we live in now, and I try to keep the show just more upbeat and political. But that having been said, I also give people the right to express their opinions, and and if I disagree with them, I disagree respectfully. So, but first now, I just want to thank you for coming in here on such short notice and being with me.
Hey, I'm happy to be of help if I can be.
Okay, so tell me about Christine yourself, where you grew up, what led to what you're doing now. And by the way, I think we're going to look at a little clip of something that you've done about halfway through the show. And what do you got? What is that? Just curious. Give me a little synopsis.
Oh, the clip? Well, if we're having a serious call, then you can have a clip later on of a show called The Weekend, or actually, I'm not sure which one I'm going to share just yet, but we have a comedy,
sure it'll be good.
Silly, really goofy, so you can see my other hidden side in case you're sick of COVID and you need a little levity and insanity.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's exactly what we need. But all right, now tell me about you. Like I do with all my guests, I try to find out what the guests were like growing up and where they grew up and how it got them where they're at. So let's talk about that. What were you like as a child? Where did you grow up? And what did you aspire to and all that? And then if I have any questions, I'll roll them in and we'll take it from there. So go ahead, if you would, please, and enlighten us.
Well, now that I watch politics sometimes, I see that people sort of start with the story of their family, and I've been giving thought to my own, which is my mother, for example, was born the week of Dunkirk in London during the Blitz.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh,
and
Yeah, that was quite a week, so I hear.
Yep.
No, I know, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, the film about that was fantastic.
It was. So your mom was right there.
She was a little baby, yep.
Little baby.
She was being born into that
you got British blood in you, too.
I do, my mother, yeah.
Your mother's British, okay. Yep. Well, and your father, was he a European man, too?
Yes, he had an even more dramatic story. He's Polish, and my grandfather was the Secretary of State for a region of Poland. And so when the Russians...
when was this about?
He was about 5, yep, 5 in World War II.
Okay.
When it started, and the Russians came over the eastern border of Poland where they lived.
Right.
And at some point, my grandfather was in a position that you're appointed to for life, so he felt it was back in the day when honor and such things, well, it seems kind of amusing now, honor was a really valued characteristic.
Of course,
yes.
Yeah, character trait, if you would, sure. I get it.
So to his mind, it was his job to do his job and to provide some sort of continuity despite the chaos of the Russians coming in and taking over everything. So However, at night, I think he would smuggle documents in his clothing and burn them in the fireplace at night to help, I assume, protect people.
Wow. So both your parents were altruistic, obviously. They wanted us to win, obviously. They wanted a free world.
They did.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now the thing I'm thinking now though is that World War II was like 80 years ago, and you don't look that old. So I'm guessing your parents.
Well, that was my grandfather.
Oh, your grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my dad was in the environment, and then the Russians came after about 6 months and said, I don't know if they got wise to what my grandfather was trying to do, but they took the whole family off to Siberia in rail cars, just like you hear about the horrible stories that happened to the Jewish people. Same thing, only going to Siberia. So they were put in a logging camp.
Wow.
Epic. You know, I could stay here the whole show just talking about my father's.
I understand. Well, that's
story.
Cool. That is rough. Obviously, and I'm Jewish too, so I can understand that. No, I get it. But I am trying to focus on you though. So where did you grow up, and what were you like as a kid?
They emigrated through Africa, New York, Houston, California. I was born in LA.
Cool.
Grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco.
You look like an LA girl, kind of.
Yep.
LA woman, but the song by the Doors. Exactly.
I like the Beach Boys one, California Girls myself, but.
Okay. When I was a kid, they were happening, and they're still happening.
They're excellent. I love them.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So you started out in Southern California.
Yeah, I was just born there, lived there a short time, moved to the Bay Area, San Francisco
Northern
area.
California.
Yep, and actually in between there via London, because my younger sister was born a year after me. So we went to England shortly after I was born, and were there for almost a year, and then came back. So.
Okay, but the war had already ended by then. Obviously.
The war was long over by then. This is like,
right, Right. Okay, that's good. That's good. So you were never a child of war, even though your family, your father and your mother and your father and your grandfather were children of war, but you weren't.
Well, it's interesting. They're learning about epigenetics nowadays and how trauma and different events can trigger genetic factors. And I'm realizing that impacted my family a lot, and I still carry that, and I try to heal myself so that I can help heal my son and future generations, because it sets off anxiety and things like that.
So in a way, you turned the negative into a positive for yourself.
Well, we'll hope so.
Well, I mean,
I'm trying.
No, right, and it seems to have been working. So you have your own son now, and obviously you're trying to reduce whatever trauma that he might be going through.
Right.
Okay, but all right, now, but continuing on you though, you went to London for a while, then you came back. When you came back to the U.S. from there, where did you end up? Where did you migrate to in the U.S.?
So yeah, we were in the San Francisco Bay Area for my entire youth.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So I went to a little Catholic
and all this
school.
time you were out there, did you ever take anything, like acting or any of the stuff they do out there? Or?
No. I thought, oh gosh, you have to do that casting couch thing. I didn't want anything to do with that. It seemed like a very controlled.
Okay. All right. So then what happened? You crossed the country at some point because you're here now.
Yes. Well, I went to Cal Poly and I got an engineering degree.
Cool.
And then I went to work for Unisys and realized that the people working there, the engineers were doing all the hard parts, and the business people would end up making all the money. So I didn't really want to be an engineer in that situation.
You didn't want to make the money?
I did want to make the money, but I didn't want the business people to make all the money off of me. So I went and got an MBA.
Oh, cool. And what?
So Georgetown has an international business program.
Oh, Georgetown,
which was novel at the time. Now,
pretty good basketball team too.
Excellent, yes.
Wow. Okay. So you went. All right. So you went to Georgetown after you got your degree in what do they call it? What was that first degree?
Industrial engineering.
Industrial engineering. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that you crossed the country for. Obviously, Georgetown's on the East Coast, and that's where you went. All right. So that was your first segue into the East Coast life, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then what did you do with that after you graduated?
So it took a while, but I ended up working my way into a job at the World Bank.
Okay.
Which was really
Where was that?
My favorite job probably to date. And it's part of the UN. It's in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And we worked on international development projects, helping emerging countries get on their feet so there's less starvation, better maternal mortality, all these factors that go into making life decent for people that have really improved. The UN has done a fantastic job of improving standards of living worldwide and pulling millions and millions and millions of people out of poverty. If you want to get positive numbers for a change, I would suggest going on the internet and just looking at improvements in the last decade or two.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. I actually went to the UN myself as a kid in 1968 for my 9th birthday. And we actually got to hang in the office while the diplomats, have meetings, just myself and my family, for a few hours on that Saturday. I believe the date was October 5th of 1968. So I remember photographic memory for dates from my Asperger's that I have enables me to remember that stuff. And I thought you might find that kind of interesting.
That is.
Yeah. And at that time I was interested in learning foreign languages too, and I tried it for a while, and then I gave up. I flunked Spanish. I tried Chinese, then I flunked Spanish 3 times in high school.
But you stayed with it.
What's that?
You stayed with it.
I stayed with it, but I definitely prefer doing English stuff because it makes it more. It's what I do. I speak fluent English. I probably will only speak fluent English. Maybe a little pig Latin here and there.
We all speak that.
A little
when we're
Esperanto
needed
on
to.
the side as well. Sometimes, but. Well, all right. So, now in terms of the UN, though, what did you do? Did you participate in the UN works?
Well, the World Bank is underneath the UN.
It is. It's okay. That's a bank. It's
Yeah,
an
it's
international
actually-
monetary fund bank, right?
That's a sister organization. It's the formal name of the World Bank is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development.
Okay. And where did you fit in there? What was the job like what did it entail?
So I was in kind of an internal consulting function, providing advice to other diplomats within the World Bank on different projects, usually on private sector development.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. So you advised the financiers basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean,
Thanks.
it's like, but do you realize what a position of power that is? You could literally control the finances of the whole world, the whole economy, the whole world economy.
Well, don't intimidate me.
No, you're the one doing the intimidating. That's pretty good, though. That's impressive.
No, it was a lot of responsibility.
Of course it was, but you did it, and you did it benevolently too, so everybody's prospered.
I tried to make that be the case. It takes a little bit of discernment, and you can't just take what everybody says at face value. If you're hearing one side of a story and it sounds too good to be true, somebody must be leaving out the other side, because everything has a pro and a con. And
it does. There's two sides to every story. That's basically saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now, what other things did you gain over the years in terms of, your whatever political standpoints you take right now,
Mm-hmm.
but you said you did some acting as well. So tell me about that. I assume you did that more or less as a hobby as opposed to a livelihood, but whatever you did kind of led to what you were doing. I get that your personality is pretty upbeat, so and you like to let loose on the world in a funny way, in spite of stuff that is serious, and that's great because that how to. Everybody has situations that they have to kind of deal with that aren't always pleasant, but you find a way to do it. So you want to tell me about that? I kind of am gleaning that as I speak to you.
Well, some of it, I've heard you talk a little bit about your life and your start and how that resulted in the man you are today.
Yeah.
And my trials probably came a little bit later on. I don't know. I think a lot of us had a lot of experience with the Me Too situation in my generation. People that were trying to push the envelope and being in fields that were traditionally male-oriented.
Okay.
Or trying to be somewhat aggressive in a career. And you can often fall victim to people trying to take advantage of your ambition and your interests.
I have heard that in a lot of cases. Well, do you feel that okay. Well, guess what? We're going to watch a little clip of something that you did to, keep the mood upbeat, and then we're going to get right back to what we're talking about. So without further ado, folks, check this out, Christine's clip, and we'll be right back.
Boyfriends on the internet. She's supposed to be taking her adult education courses, and instead she's in there looking at pictures of men I don't even know. Now I have to worry about Renee getting pregnant, and then I'll have to handle an uneducated mother in the house. This is all just shitty. I don't know how I could deal with that and my at-home business at the same time. I'll talk to you next time. Yeah, bye. Michigan Tim, hi. Thanks for coming by. Well, come on in. I'll tell you about all my computer needs.
So where's this computer?
Oh, it's in Renee's room. It's her computer. It was a gift from her best friend from the West. Renee's using the computer in her school for her young adult education courses. She's also using it for boyfriends. I don't want her using that to have internet sex with her web boyfriends.
I know what you mean there. I'm sure Renee will achieve a successful business career once she has unclean sites blocked.
Thank you, Michigan Tim. After you look at Renee's computer, would you like to stay for dinner as a friend?
Thanks.
Oh, that was great. Tell me about that clip, and then we'll go back to talking about what we were before.
That was a young artist from Mass Art who
Okay.
created this. I mean, he graduated some years ago, but he likes offbeat humor. He's inspired by The Room
Okay.
and Troll 2. So these are controversial pieces of art in themselves. So that those are his inspirations. Our warning to
Okay.
not take this too seriously.
Okay, well, how did you fit in there?
Well, I started acting about 10 years ago
Okay.
when my son was small, because he was a really very good actor.
Oh, your son was?
Yeah, he's
How
a
old
great
is he now?
actor. He's 22.
Oh, okay. Does he still act?
Sometimes, yes. He was. There's a story film that just got it to Sundance, and
Oh,
I think
wow.
won Sundance, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a
called
big
Coda.
festival. It's a
Yeah.
huge festival.
Yeah, it's a.
Well, he acted in it, and that's.
No, he's a body double.
Oh,
No,
okay.
we're
Well,
just lowly.
that's something.
You know.
That's important.
It's more of a hobby for fun, and he went on X Factor at one point, and
Oh, wow.
and he's was a good
Well,
singer and what have you.
I'm
but-
just now. This leads me to ask: did he sort of get you into it in later life?
So I went to do it with him. I
Oh, you
thought
did
that
it
would be a
with him.
lot
You
more
guys-
fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
you both decided let's do some acting. In addition to the fun other stuff we do.
Yep.
It'd be kind of cool to test the waters and see what it feels like. And obviously, it felt pretty good for you guys.
Right.
All right. Well, how is that pertaining to what you're doing now? Is that still going on with you? Are you still doing acting currently at all?
Well, I stood in for a day for Meryl Streep.
Really?
I moved my way
You
up to
kinda
being
look
a
like her a
stand-in
little
now.
bit. You're pretty though.
Well, thank you.
I think so.
Well, she's a little older than me,
That
so
too, absolutely.
You know,
well, with me too.
True. So there she looks amazing
Oh, she
in
does.
this
She's
really
she's-
great comedy that's going to be coming out. So.
So you're in that.
Well, at least I hope it's great. It seemed pretty funny, the scenes I saw. When you're
I know you were an extra there.
when your background, stand-in, you don't get shown. So
But you know what? I mean, that doesn't mean you can't continue on and do other things.
actually, I should be in that film at some point more than anybody else because of COVID. This is pretty interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
They needed to take an image of several actors to use us to fill up a giant stadium because there's a stadium.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I can't say more than that, but
Okay,
I
that's
can say
fine.
that I'm replicated in 7, 8 different outfits, doing different actions, and so I'm multiplied thousands of times in that film when it comes out. And it has a lot of hot
It's all right.
stars in it, so it should be.
Well,
I hope they bridge the gap. It's a little bit possibly could be construed as political satire.
That's fine. That's good. Well, now on that note, I'm wondering, have you ever done any, aside from the work you've done, which is incredible, and obviously the degrees you've gotten in school and the experience you've had, have you ever done any like writing? Have you ever done any other forms of entertainment? Have you ever played music? Have you ever danced, sung, or any of that stuff?
Just ballet as a kid.
Okay.
Loved that.
Good. You look like you're
And
very flexible even now.
yoga. a
Yoga's
little bit
great.
yoga. Meditation. Well, so now I teach meditation.
You teach it.
Yep.
So is my sister-in-law right here in town. She lives here.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
she's a Reiki master. She was a guest on
Oh,
my
me
show.
too.
And she was a guest on my show twice, and I was a guest on her show once that she had here a few years ago. Okay, are you a Reiki master too? Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Okay, well, you guys could talk shop, I guess, if she watches the show. Yeah, and she does very well with it. So do you do this out of your house, or do you do this in another office
I just
somewhere?
do it sort of remotely for friends who haven't necessarily
Obviously now,
asked
yeah,
for
right. Right
it.
now, you can't really do it. You have to do it remotely.
Right. I haven't done it as a profession.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I guess I did when I first started for a couple of people, but I didn't feel that was necessarily my calling.
All right. Well,
I was hoping to do something, with political healing. We so need that in our
yeah, we
culture
sure
right
do.
now.
That's an interesting concept. I never even thought of that, but it's true. It really is true. The country is pretty divided now, and and it's true. We should be able to unify everybody. Like that's the way the country should be. You know, just agree to disagree and all that. You know, I mean, that's my total take on it.
Yeah, I am pretty confident that if people really spent time with each other and talked with each other and hashed out the details of things we think that we're opposed about, we would find that the common ground greatly exceeds any differences there. We all want good educations for our children. We want to have healthy food, a chance to move up in the world, a chance for stability, even more importantly, because you know, if you're an entrepreneur and you fail, which is the case for most entrepreneurs, you don't want to have to be starving and your kids be sacrificed their future so that you could try being an entrepreneur. You know, those kinds of things, we need a social safety net. And there's, you know, we're all fighting about where it should be or if we should have one. But, yeah, so anyway, I thought it would be nice to have a show called Puppies for Peace and do a vlog or live stream on Twitch or something and interview people and just go to a cafe and say, hi, tell me about, you know, your life.
Well, you should. I hope you learn from my show that you could probably do that. You'd be great at it. I can tell that you have a good style of talking to people. And although you're being interviewed now, but I could tell just by talking to you that you have so much going on in your brain that you could go, you know, and you're so easygoing and easy to talk to that I think you could walk up to strangers on the street and interview them one at a time, and it would be a very fascinating show.
Thanks.
Yeah. Have you ever done anything like that? Did you do it in school at all? Any of the colleges you went to?
No. When I was in Bosnia, I did a little bit.
Bosnia? Really? So you got to tell me these countries you've been to that have had such tough luck going on. When were you in Bosnia?
When I worked for World Bank, I was chief of party, actually for State Department.
Okay. Was that in the early '90s? Because that's when it was always in the news. And then Kosovo a few years later.
Yeah, late 90s.
Late 90s, okay.
I went there just after the war ended.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
So just immediately after it ended, and they were still shelling at night and what have you. But I felt pretty safe, actually.
You did? Okay. Boy, I wouldn't. But I admire your courage.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, there was a lot to do, and it was tricky because you arrive and everything's blown up, and there's not a lot of heat available or hot water, and
I know.
It's a mountain area.
It's tough to watch that. I mean, you know, it's the thing is, you know, you look at an area like that, and ideally it's a beautiful setting. I mean, Sarajevo was a wonderful, you know, I guess they had the Olympics one year. I don't remember what year, but it was a beautiful country. And then all of a sudden, you know, the hostilities come back from whatever previous rivalries between the factions emerge again and reemerge, and next thing you know, it's just bloodshed everywhere, and it's awful. I mean, you can't ignore that stuff.
It's very much like the situation we ourselves have just been through, and I saw this all coming because people like Chris Hedges and what have you, who also was there.
Who was there?
Chris Hedges.
Oh,
he was a Princeton professor and journalist, and he teaches now in prisons, which is really nice of him.
In prison? Is he a prisoner?
No,
oh,
he's
okay,
not.
That's good.
No, he's trying to help people get a nice life when they get out.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like he's a guy that cares about people, and you know, people that don't have it as good as he does, and that's wonderful. And obviously, you're one of those people too.
I try.
I know you do. All right. Well, what were you doing with Joe Kennedy? What was that story about?
Well, I'm a delegate, and I'm a
delegate for
vice
what? The Democratic Party?
For the state party, yeah.
Okay.
Oh. And with the Democratic Town Committee of Dartmouth, I'm the vice chair and involved with a new group called Call to Action.
Okay.
We're helping to bring,
I've heard of them.
hoping to help bring transparency to the State House.
Okay.
And inform voters about different topics of interest. And transparency is an issue that everybody wants.
Okay.
Nobody wants backroom deals going on. Republicans, Democrats, progressives, conservatives, centrists. Who wouldn't want that?
Right,
Just the people that like the establishment as it is, and that's not working for most people.
Okay, all right. Now, you got to understand, some of the stuff might be over my head because, part of the reason I don't talk politics too often is because I really don't understand it, even after almost 62 years on Earth.
It takes I've been doing this now for 10 years in Massachusetts,
right.
And it's really opaque, which is the problem, which is why we're trying to, it's young, well, we're not young. Some of us are young, we're trying to get young people involved, so if you're young, or you have young people in your life, please.
But young people, they're our future, obviously. Every generation is the future of the previous one's incarnation, if that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll say, so, let's see, what was I going to say? So what lies ahead for you now? What, going forward? What do you, have you been on TV before, or is this the first time?
This is the first time on TV, yeah, first time.
Good. I'm honored because you seem like someone that's been on TV before. I just got that impression. Now tell me what do you plan? What are your plans for the year as as we progress? What do you have? What are your goals for the rest of the year? 2021, spring's coming, summer's coming. You got anything on the agenda?
I don't know. Do you have is there feedback on your YouTube channel? Can people post their feedback, or do people write into your show or anything like that?
Yeah, well, on Facebook they do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Facebook. All right. So
once we share the show, anybody can say whatever they want.
If they keep it nice, they can help me figure it out. So there are three things I'm thinking of. One is this streaming Puppies for Peace.
Okay.
I thought it would be a nice. Everybody loves puppies.
I love
and
puppies.
we have a new puppy in my house.
Congratulations.
He's the cutest thing on the planet. And
Yeah, he is. I'm sure.
He really is. And and then secondly, there's something called the Center of the Ocean for Public Policy and Economics.
Okay.
And I might be helping someone from the Northeast Maritime Institute start that up.
Okay.
And that's helping with the climate change and ocean cleanliness, what have you,
Okay.
ocean preservation. And and then all this activist stuff.
Okay,
So,
great. Well, guess what? We're down to the final 5 minutes of the show. We made it go by. Okay. So what I want you to do, like I ask every guest, in the remaining time, I want you to look at the camera, give shouts out to people that are going to see the show, because a lot of them are. You can start with your family, son, or whoever else, your puppy, and the people the people that you talk to regularly, and then we'll wrap the show up.
Okay, I guess. So I say, hey, thanks, Mom, Wendy
Cool.
Donaby, and my sister and her husband, and my son, that's Vanda, Alan, Philip is my son, Buck is his new puppy, and Isaac and Isabel are my niece and nephew.
Wow,
And a
cool.
shout out to Uncle Dave, who's in the hospital with heart problems at the moment. So
Okay, yeah.
hopefully
Hope he
okay.
prayers for him. Okay.
Yep. And my friend Sheila, she's having a rough time. So is Jerome. A lot of people in our prayers lately. And
Yeah, I know. I get it. I know. I see it on Facebook every day.
Yep.
And ultimately, everyone needs prayers and and uplifts and whatnot.
yeah.
Okay, well that's good.
You know who needs uplifts? All these activists of any kind, volunteers, because year in, year out, I don't care what side you're on. I think most activists, whether they're conservative or progressive, are really doing what they think is best to help others. And that's an unpaid, thankless job, and who has free time? Nobody has free time. And they're volunteering what little time they have to do that. And so shout outs to all volunteers and activists, whatever stripe.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Well, I hope you had fun with me.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna our Revolution people, Massachusetts, tune in and call to action and act en masse. They're the transparency people, really working hard to make that happen.
That's great. Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you before we wrap the show up is that if you had a good time with me tonight, if there's anyone that you know of that might be an interesting guest for me, you have my digits. Have him or her call me, contact me, text me, and we'll get them on the show.
Absolutely.
Because I love doing the show. I do 2 shows a week here in a different location. Now it's Wareham, and down near the Cape. And
okay.
yeah, I love it, and it's a great time for me. This is what I do, and nothing makes me happier. So that's great. So you did a wonderful job with me, and again, I appreciate you coming in on such short notice. And,
My pleasure. Really nice experience.
okay, you have a nice smile, and I love your attitude. It's really cool. And on that note, are you ready to wrap the show up the way we started it with the music?
All right.
All right. Well, let's do it then.
I don't know.
Okay.
I might have no more new moves though.
That's cool. Well, if you don't, that's fine. If you do, that's fine too. Okay, folks. Thanks for watching Topic Time. More great episodes to follow. Take care. See you next time. Have a good one. Just don't bang the table. That's all I ask, because that could snap the CD. There you go. That's great.
raining out.
Way to flutter. You bring that old ballet skills back. You'll love it.
Oh yes.